The vibrant hum of the city often served as a backdrop to Ilara's restless ambition. An artist by calling, her canvases screamed with a silent intensity, each brushstroke a defiance against a past littered with rejections. She craved recognition, not for vanity but as validation, a balm for old wounds that still throbbed beneath her confident exterior. Beside her, Liam, a writer whose words flowed with a quiet grace, offered an anchor. Their love had blossomed from shared dreams, from late-night conversations about the alchemy of creation, and from a mutual admiration that felt like the very air they breathed. He was her steadfast supporter, seemingly content in her shadow, yet unbeknownst to her, a subtle battle waged within him, a gnawing inadequacy that whispered insidious doubts. Their early days were a symphony of collaborative spirit. Ilara painted, Liam wrote, their home a sanctuary of creative chaos. Then, the first tremor of change arrived. Ilara's art, vibrant and provocative, caught the eye of a prominent gallery owner. A major exhibition followed, thrusting her into the blinding spotlight she had so long desired. The art world, once a fortress, now laid open before her, showering her with praise and opportunities. Liam watched, his smile a little tighter, his applause a fraction slower. His own writing, once a source of quiet pride, now felt stagnant, his pages barren compared to Ilara's burgeoning success. He found himself increasingly overshadowed, a peripheral figure in the dazzling orbit of her ascension. The shifts were subtle at first, almost imperceptible. Ilara, consumed by the relentless demands of her newfound fame, spent longer hours in her studio, her phone buzzing with calls from curators and critics. Liam, left with the quietude of their home, felt a growing distance. The first crack in their foundation appeared vividly on their anniversary. A meticulously planned dinner, a cherished tradition, was sacrificed for a networking event Ilara deemed crucial. Liam's disappointment festered, transforming into a quiet resentment that manifested in veiled criticisms, passive-aggressive remarks about her new priorities, and a withdrawal that Ilara, in her whirlwind, barely noticed. It was during this period of growing estrangement that Marcus entered Ilara's professional sphere. A charismatic rival artist, his presence was magnetic. He admired Ilara's work with an intensity that felt both genuine and unsettling, offering opportunities that further solidified her place in the art world. Liam observed Marcus from a distance, a chill creeping into his heart. He saw the easy camaraderie, the shared passion, the way Marcus made Ilara laugh in a way Liam hadn't been able to for months. Driven by a complex cocktail of hurt and a desperate need for recognition, Liam embarked on a secret project. He began writing a novel, not just any novel, but one that drew heavily from their shared life, blurring the lines between fiction and reality, between inspiration and exploitation. As his words flowed onto the page, Ilara, oblivious, felt an increasing isolation. The pressure of success, the constant demands, the fear of losing her hard-won recognition made her retreat further, confiding less in Liam, who increasingly felt like a stranger. The unspoken tensions finally erupted during a heated argument one evening. Liam, his voice laced with bitterness, accused Ilara of changing, of letting success corrupt her. Ilara, stung by his words, retaliated, accusing him of jealousy, of resenting her accomplishments. The air crackled with unspoken truths, with the weight of dreams that had diverged. Later that night, the house silent, save for the hum of the refrigerator, Liam, unable to sleep, found Ilara's phone lying on the kitchen counter. A notification flashed, a message from Marcus. He hesitated, then picked it up. The words on the screen sent a jolt through him, a cold dread seizing his chest. Can't stop thinking about our conversation last night. More than just art, isn't it? Liam's world tilted on its axis. a terrifying suspicion solidifying into a chilling certainty. Before we continue, subscribe to the channel and tell us in the comments where you are watching from. The cryptic message from Marcus ignited a firestorm within Liam, transforming suspicion into an insidious obsession. He began to monitor Ilara's movements with a chilling intensity. Each late return, each hushed phone call, feeding the beast of his growing paranoia. His writer's mind, once a sanctuary for creative thought, now became a laboratory for crafting scenarios of betrayal. The novel, initially a secret outlet for his personal frustrations, morphed into a weapon. He meticulously twisted shared memories, reinterpreting Ilara's ambition as ruthless self-interest, her dedication to art as cold indifference. Every character, every dialogue became a thinly veiled accusation, a meticulously constructed narrative designed to validate his perceived victimhood and expose her perceived deceit. Yet despite the mounting evidence he gathered in his mind, Liam hesitated to confront Ilara directly. A primal fear gnawed at him, the fear that the truth, once spoken aloud, would irrevocably shatter what remained of their fractured world. He preferred the controlled chaos of his manuscript, where he held all the power, where he could dictate the narrative. Meanwhile, Ilara found herself adrift in a sea of emotional turmoil. Marcus, with his discerning eye and understanding smile, offered a potent antidote to Liam's increasingly distant demeanor. He spoke her language, not just of art, but of the relentless pressure, the gnawing self-doubt that success often amplified. He offered not just professional support, but an emotional understanding that felt like a lifeline. Ilara wrestled with a profound guilt, her commitment to Liam battling against the unexpected comfort she found in Marcus's presence. She felt torn, a ship caught between two powerful currents. There was a moment, a fragile evening, when she almost confided in her closest friend, almost laid bare the confusing tangle of her heart. But a protective instinct, a deep-seated fear of judgment, made her pull back, retreating into the lonely confines of her own conflicted thoughts. The moment Liam had been dreading, yet simultaneously seeking, arrived with a brutal finality. One rain-swept afternoon, returning home unexpectedly early, he overheard voices from the studio. Ilara and Marcus. Their tones were low, intimate, a murmur of shared secrets. He pressed himself against the doorframe, his heart a frantic drum against his ribs. He couldn't decipher every word, but the cadence, the shared laughter, the undeniable closeness in their voices solidified every one of his fears. He heard Marcus say something about finally understanding true inspiration, followed by Ilara's soft, almost breathless reply, "It's different with you, Marcus." The sting of betrayal was immediate, visceral. His world, already fracturing, now crumbled into dust. All the love he had poured into Ilara, all the sacrifices he believed he had made, curdled into a bitter resentment. His fingers, trembling with rage, flew across his keyboard. His novel, already dark, took on a truly vengeful tone. Ilara, in his fictional world, became a cruel, manipulative siren, her ambition a destructive force that left wreckage in its wake. He meticulously crafted scenes that painted her as cold, calculating, and ultimately unfaithful, believing he was merely reflecting the truth. One quiet morning, as Liam was out, Ilara, searching for a misplaced sketch, stumbled upon his laptop. Curiosity, a dangerous companion, led her to an open document. The title, "The Canvas of Deceit," sent a prickle of unease down her spine. She began to read. Shock, then a slow, creeping horror washed over her. These were their lives, their dreams, their arguments, but seen through a distorted, venomous lens. She recognized herself, Liam, even Marcus, but twisted, caricatured, stripped of their complexities. She saw the depth of Liam's hurt, his anger, but also the chilling manipulation of their shared story. His words were not just an expression of pain, they were an act of deliberate sabotage. Then, her eyes fell upon a particularly damaging passage, a fictionalized account of a private conversation she'd had with Marcus, taken completely out of context, implying a scandalous affair. It wasn't just about exposing her vulnerability. It was about destroying her reputation, forever tainting her art and ensuring her downfall. The realization hit her like a physical blow. Liam's intent was not merely to hurt, but to obliterate. Ilara's world, already reeling, now spun into a vortex of fury and profound hurt. She confronted Liam, the manuscript clutched in her trembling hands, her voice a low, dangerous growl that barely masked the tremor of betrayal. It wasn't just Marcus, it was the malicious portrayal, the grotesque distortion of their life together, etched onto the digital page. Liam, pale and defensive, stammered that it was merely fiction, a cathartic outlet for his pain, a way to process his feelings. But his eyes, wide and haunted, betrayed him. His words, though cloaked in the guise of artistic expression, were laced with a venomous intent that Ilara could no longer deny. The truth, raw and ugly, finally spilled forth. Both confessed their feelings of profound neglect, the gnawing jealousy, the suffocating weight of betrayal. The deep cracks in their foundation, long ignored, finally splintered into an irreparable chasm. The private devastation soon erupted into a very public fallout, in a cruel twist of fate, or perhaps a calculated act of revenge from a rival artist. Anonymous excerpts from Liam's unfinished novel mysteriously leaked online. The art world, ever hungry for scandal, devoured the salacious details. Ilara's upcoming exhibition, the culmination of years of relentless work, hung precariously in the balance. Her integrity, her very essence as an artist, was questioned, dissected, and condemned by anonymous critics and self-righteous commentators. Liam watched the inferno he had unwittingly ignited, a cold dread replacing his initial vindication. The devastating impact of his actions, the ruin he had brought upon Ilara, finally registered. Shame, heavy and suffocating, descended upon him, a chilling realization of the true cost of his revenge. Amidst the chaos, Marcus, ever the opportunist, revealed his true colors. Seeing Ilara at her most vulnerable, he made a calculated move, offering a sympathetic shoulder that quickly turned predatory. His thinly veiled advances, his sudden lack of genuine concern for her reputation, exposed his true nature. He was never truly invested in her art or her well-being. Ilara was merely a stepping stone, a means to elevate his own standing. It was a bitter pill to swallow, but it also offered a strange clarity. Yet despite the fresh sting of Marcus's opportunism and Liam's profound betrayal, Ilara saw through Liam's public shame to the genuine remorse that flickered in his eyes. She recognized the pain that had driven his actions, the anguish that had twisted his love into something so destructive. The difficult choice loomed. Could their love, shattered and scarred, ever be salvaged, or was the damage truly irreparable? The climax arrived with the opening night of Ilara's exhibition. The air was thick with anticipation, a mix of morbid curiosity and genuine artistic interest. Ilara, however, was no longer the embattled victim. She had defiantly modified her exhibition, transforming her pain into powerful, visceral art. The leaked manuscript excerpts, the public shaming, Liam's betrayal, all became threads woven into a new, raw narrative. Her canvases, once vibrant with ethereal dreams, now pulsed with the stark realities of betrayal and resilience. Then a hush fell over the crowd as Liam, pale but resolute, stepped forward. He made a public statement taking full responsibility for the leak, defending Ilara's character and acknowledging the profound damage he had caused. It was a risky move, one that could easily end his own nascent writing career, but it was a genuine act of penance. The audience's reaction was a complex tapestry of shock, empathy, and undeniable admiration. Ilara's exhibition was not just a success despite the scandal. It was a critical triumph precisely because of it. Her ability to transmute such personal devastation into profound, universally resonant art showcased her unparalleled strength and artistic depth. Liam, having faced his demons and offered a public atonement, began to write a new story, one stripped of bitterness, focused on genuine redemption. Their future together remained uncertain, a delicate balance poised between a shared past and an unknown horizon. But in the ashes of their power struggles, a fragile understanding, a new, hard-won mutual respect had been rebuilt, hinting at the possibility of a love forged anew, stronger and more authentic than before.